When the blitz is on, you need to protect your most valuable asset. That's why the NFL looks to Cisco Security, powered by AI, to protect their data from cyber attacks. When the game is on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
Good morning. Just like every Wednesday, I always tell the players that's when it's an opportunity for us to change the page, which we have done. Like we wrapped up all the Jet stuff, went through the corrections, and now it's all about the Titans, which I think is important. When I look at that team, it's a team that they're really in a similar situation as us. They have good players, they have a good scheme, they just haven't been able to put it together as far as a record is concerned. Now, in saying that, they have talent all across the board. Like you look at their defense, it just starts with the front. They have a lot of good players up front, and it starts with Simmons. And he's one of those guys that's a huge disruptor. You go to the second and third level, you see a lot of guys with speed and flying around. I would also say they're a little bit unpredictable as far as the play calling on the defensive side of the ball, which is a huge challenge for us. And as I always say, we have to be able to see the same picture through the same set of goggles. Moving on to the offense, again, a little bit of uncertainty at the quarterback spot, which is always difficult to prepare for teams that have that uncertainty at the quarterback spot. They have two different skill sets, and saying that they've both won games in this league. When you look at their running backs, to me, it's a fantastic 1-2 punch. Expect to see both of those guys, and they can hurt you in the run game. They can also hurt you in the pass game, and they also have some big bodies up front. There's no question, as you go through the film, Zero Ridley, there's no question why he was one of the top free agents, and everyone wanted an opportunity to have him on their roster. This is a guy who is heavily targeted. At the same time, he's open a lot on film. Sometimes doesn't get the ball, but he is open a lot on film, and that's going to be a challenge. And we talk about marrying up the rush and the coverage, and that's what we're going to continue to preach. For our team, for NEP, it's I think it's pretty clear how we have to win games, and I think it starts with the turnover battle, first of all. And we had some opportunities last week, not to harp on those, but we have to take advantage if we want to get out of Tennessee with a win defensively. And offensively, we have to continue to protect the ball. Even though we are one of the top teams in the league as far as protecting the ball, we've had the football on the ground way too many times. Even though we recovered those fumbles, it's just been way too many times. And so those are things that we have to clean up. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about Drake. Drake is in the protocol. He's in the protocol, and he will be a limited participant today in practice. So in saying that, yeah, he will throw the ball at times in practice today, but he will be limited. There are people a lot smarter than me as far as clearing people with concussions, and we'll lean on our medical professionals and also the NFL league policy as far as getting him ready to play. I do have confidence that as soon if the league says he's ready to play, that he will be able to go out there and operate. And in saying that, I feel very comfortable putting Jacoby in there, as he is a professional and always stays ready, as you could see from the last game. So however that plays out, we'll see. But excited for another opportunity to go out there and continue to get better. And I said, as we continue to progress, as the season goes on, we want to be better as the season goes on and be one of those teams that no one wants to play at the end of the year. And that's our goal. Fire away.
I know you said he wants to be clear and everything, but you said at halftime you saw Drake and said he wanted to play. Have you seen him, and what's his spirits like, and how's he look to you?
Yeah, his spirits are good. His spirits are good. They were good after the game. He actually threw a couple of dimes even after the hit. So he was upbeat.
Logistically, what are some of the challenges with having this type of situation going into the week, some of the uncertainty quarterback?
We treat it as any other injury, and I would say like having a veteran quarterback like Jacoby kind of puts us at ease.
Can you kind of clarify who kind of flagged the hit and for Drake to be checked?
It was from up top, the spotter.
The spotter?
Yeah, it was the spotter.
And you said like Drake at halftime was kind of like put me back in. So he was feeling okay for the most part?
That's from my understanding, and when I spoke to him, he seemed like he was okay. But again, like I'm not an expert in evaluating head injuries, and the spotter identified it, and we just, at that point, lean on the league and their policy.
You said that he'll be limiting practice. Do you know what step he's in the protocol?
I'm not sure exactly what step he's in, but I know he will be at practice today.
If he gets cleared prior to this meeting, do you anticipate him being the starter if he is cleared?
Yeah, I don't want to get into like if he gets cleared. I mean, as you guys all know, like that stuff can change in a single minute, and so it's difficult to kind of get into that if he gets cleared.
Practice players of the week, or are we going to hold off on those for another day?
We do have practice players of the week. I'll give them to you. Yeah, I'll give them to you on Thursday.
Jerod, where do you think stand with the wide receiver group, especially after last Sunday, and what's the confidence level kind of in that room right now?
Again, every week it's its own week, and we had a great meeting this morning, a great team meeting this morning, and pretty much, you have to clean those things up if you want to be a good football team, and they understand that. And I would also say that those guys have caught thousands or tens of thousands of balls over their career, and I'm not talking about the NFL. I'm saying like even from a little kid, and to me, it's just about continuing to push forward. And look, if you don't have the confidence in your hands, what can you got to ask yourself the question, what can I do to help our team win? And whether it's blocking or whatever, and they come in bunches. So I think those guys will be okay.
What kind of challenge is there for Alex Smith helping you in terms of having uncertainty around the quarterbacks and the game planning, pitching through with the different skill sets?
Yeah, I would say there are core concepts in general that all of the quarterbacks have to know. Especially on early downs. I would say as soon as, even though Drake will be a limited participant today, hopefully as we continue to go forward, the plays, like we have to see how the process goes, but hopefully we get to a point in the week where we can just kind of, iron out the details on who's the quarterback.
I understand this may be more of an Elliott question, but I was hoping to get your take on the trade of Josh, what you meant you guys felt he was here, and how do you see kind of the pass rush moving forward with that?
Yeah, look, Josh is one of the first guys that, I spent a lot of time watching a lot of film when he was in college, and we still have a great relationship. I think it's better for both of us, and look, I wish him nothing but the best, but I think it's best for both teams.
Gerard, related to that, do you feel compelled in any way ahead of the trade deadline to have individual conversations with players or address it in a larger team meeting?
To me, the guys in there understand professional football and they understand this time of the year. I would say from our perspective as an organization, we're always trying to get better, whether that's to bring players in or addition through subtraction. And we have to both look in the short term and also in the long term.
Where you guys are in terms of your organizational trajectory, your rebuilding, would you be reluctant to deal away guys who might have valued other teams but are, for lack of a better term, like program guys, like good influences, in your opinion, in the locker room?
Yeah. Look, to us, it's always like we're in the business of bringing in good players and keeping our good players. I think you bring up an interesting point as far as like the culture guys, and I do think that's important. I also would say I think it's important with the coaches as well to bring in guys that really believe in the culture and where we're trying to go. So that definitely, we take those things into consideration.
Do you anticipate there being more moves or players traded off this roster by next week?
I'm sure. I mean, there'll always be moves throughout the league. Again, I'm not sure how active or inactive we'll be.
Back to quarterback. If Drake can't go and you do start Jacoby, is there any consideration of bringing in another quarterback, or do you expect Joe Milton to be that backup?
Yeah, I expect Joe Milton to be the backup if Drake can't play.
Gerard, do you at all anticipate Caden Wallace returning to practice this week?
Caden Wallace will not be at practice this week.
So I thought of Marcus Jones and what he meant. He's a special team to handle defense, but how big of a weapon can he be, especially against a team like this?
Yeah, Marcus, even though he's a defensive player, he's one of the most explosive players in the league when he has the ball in his hands. And I would say even if you go back throughout the course of the season, there were times where he was very close to popping one. And in saying that, it's not all about Marcus. I would say those guys that block for him have also done a good job. Even on that big return, Hasty threw a block that really took out 3 people and allowed him to really turn the corner. So looking forward to keeping that going.
Just to go back to the trade deadline, this is the first one for you and Elliott in the chairs that you guys are in now. So it's new for you. It's new for us covering. How often are you having conversations with him about guys who might be dealt, calls that maybe the front office has fielded, those types of things?
Yeah, we speak every day. I try to give him, part of our game plan on the football side, and we talk about the roster every single day.
Is it like the draft in that, you guys are pretty open? Elliott's got, final say when it came to who was being picked. Is it the same case now with the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, look, we look at the players. His staff looks at the players. The coaches look at their individual position, and we make a decision that's best for the organization.
You learned about Christian Gonzalez, through like the 8 games that maybe you didn't know, going into the season just because he's played more, I guess.
For me, like what Gonzo is doing is what we fully expected him to do. The funny thing, look, he's a quiet guy, but he's a competitor. Did you listen to the mic'd up? That's the most you're gonna get from that guy. But he's a guy that goes out there and plays hard every day, and he's a great competitor.
You say the most that you get from him. What do you mean by that? Like just in terms of goals?
Yeah, he's not a very talkative guy, but he is a very good player, and I would say I've been around corners like that before that aren't that talkative. Yeah, Gilmore being one of those guys, Revis being another one of those guys. They don't talk a lot, but they go out there and get the job done.
You were talking about the offensive line.
Sorry.
You were talking about the offensive line becoming a strength on Monday. Do you expect this to be the group moving forward? And what do you think has led that group to settle the way that it has?
I mean, look, you always, at some point in time, you always hope to have a group that's the same as the prior week. We'll see what happens. We're looking for some continuity there.
George, has there been a limit on how long Drake can practice today in terms of just minutes?
Yeah, that's part of the protocol. It's from the NFL. So
Will he
yeah.
practice longer than 30 minutes today?
No.
Thank you.